Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to an explanation and guide of the Great Olm Boss in the new Chambers of Xeric raids content. So I actually wasn't planning on making this video, but I decided I'd just go for it since I kind of understand it a little bit more now. And a lot of the people I've been doing raids with have been struggling with it. For those of you not interested in this video, there will be another Hardcore Iron Man video coming out very soon, so look forward to that. So let's go ahead and jump into this, because the explanation for this is going to take a pretty long time. There's a lot of stuff to this, so I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. It might get a little bit confusing if you've never done it before. With this boss, it's definitely going to be better for you guys to practice it. Watching through a video is just going to let you know what to expect. It's not really going to make you like a master at doing it. That's going to take time. So for the sake of this and making it a little bit easier to understand, I'm just going to be calling the hand facing you the left hand. For the left hand, basically what you're going to want to do is use magic and use a trident. The boss's head and other hands are both weak to different styles, but from what I've seen and what I've tried, trident works best on the magic hand, so make sure you guys do use that. You can also use blood barrage on it. I'm not too sure how well that works, but I've seen some people doing it for trying to heal. So moving on to the right hand is going to be weak to melee. If anybody in your team does have a Dragon Warhammer, I recommend trying to spec that as soon as possible. You might try to do it once everybody's off the magic hand, because from what I've seen, a lot of people try to destroy the magic hand first and get everybody onto the melee hand. So you also want to have a Hasta or a whip for normal attacks. Either of them work pretty well. I've been using a whip and I've been getting pretty good DPS, so it's kind of up to you. I still would recommend you use a Hasta though. Finally, the head is going to be weak to ranged attacks. The only time you have to worry about actually killing the head is after the third phase. Once you kill the hands, it's basically the very final phase of the entire boss. What I recommend you guys do with this is use Ruby Bolt's E until it's at about 30%. You can do it from 20 to 40, but I recommend doing it down until about 30. After that, you're going to want to take out a blowpipe and then just kill it with that. That's basically it for explaining these. There's obviously a lot of stuff to this, but these are the basics. I just wanted to let you guys know first, so you know when I show you clips what we're actually doing. So now we're going to talk about the inventory I bring. This is going to be pretty quick because you guys can change it around any way you want. This is what I bring. I also bring a separate brew and a separate restore for once I overload, so I could drop those and pick up full ones, as you'll see in the video. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you go into this boss is actually pray magic. If you have other teammates in there, they can call if you're going to need to be praying range or mage. I'll talk about why you need to do that later. So before I actually talk about the strategy behind this whole thing, I want to show you guys all of the attacks it can possibly do on you and how to avoid them and how to actually predict they're going to be coming up. So one of the first attacks that you're going to see out throughout this boss a lot is the crystal attack, which you'll see under my feet right now as I have paused the clip. When this appears, you're going to want to click one space away to dodge it. If you get hit by this, it's going to do a significant amount of damage to you, so do your best to not get hit by it. So consistently on the first phase, you guys will see lightning going across the floor, which I have paused as well, so you can see it really quickly. They start at the corners of the room and they go all the way to the other end. There's going to be spaces between them you guys can use to walk between. Unless they patched it, you can also run past them and you won't get hit by them. But if you do get hit, your prayer will drop and you will basically be frozen. So stay away from those because they're really bad, especially if you're getting attacked by Olm. You can get pretty much hit for like a 70. So one thing I found that's very consistent as well on the first phase, right after the lightning hits the corners and goes away, you will get a pairing. And the pairing is basically you'll see a color underneath you. For this one, I got yellow because they actually just updated it to add another one. When this happens, you're going to want to find the other person in the dungeon with the same color underneath of them. And you basically have to stand as close to them or on top of them. If you're standing on top of them, nothing will happen. You'll take no damage. If you're standing very close to them or following them, which is what I recommend, you'll take probably 5 to 10 damage. If you're not on top of them, what this attack does is it swaps your places. So if you guys are across the room from each other and you don't move to each other, you're going to take like 40 damage and it's going to swap your positions. So another attack that can happen, I believe this happens right after the pairing. Somebody gets randomly selected for this. I'm going to pause it right now so you can see as well. You'll see one of my teammates has a red circle around them. This red circle basically will drop crystals on you. You'll see one frozen above his head right now. He was running around doing this. I don't recommend doing that. When you guys get this, I recommend turning off your run and actually walking around. Walking across the room in a straight line is probably the easiest way to do this. But if you stand still, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. I believe if they hit you, you get frozen as well. So you're going to have to sit there and take like big 15 hits just nonstop. So if you guys get that red circle, turn off your run and walk around the room until it's gone. This can also happen with acid, as you guys will see on the screen right now on the right side. My teammate has to walk around the room, and he has an acid trail behind him. But like I said, it's basically do the same thing. Turn off your run, walk around the room. Stay away from your teammates because if they step on it, it will be a lot of damage. So I figured this would be a good time to mention this as well. With there being so much to this boss, it's kind of hard to explain it all and put it all together without it being confusing. So through Olm, there is 3 separate stages you can get. You will see in the chat right now, the Great Olm rises with the power of Acid. It can either say Acid, Crystal, or Flame, and these will show up every single phase when it comes back up. Acid, you guys will see it shoot acid on the floor. Just stay away from those. Acid phase is pretty easy. With Crystal, you guys will see on the screen right now as well, it will shoot crystals onto the floor. Stay away from these. Run away from them when you see them because they hit players in a 5x5 radius, so it's a pretty big attack, and it does a lot of damage. And the final one is going to be Flame. This is probably the worst one, especially if you have a big team. Basically what it will do is it will shoot a player with a flame attack, and you'll see the message "burn with me" above their head. Basically what this will do is deal 5 damage to the person every time they yell the phrase out. If another player actually gets very, very close, I think you can stand 2 squares away without being affected. It'll spread to them, and you will see the message above your head saying, "I will burn with you," and they will start being dealt damage as well. So if somebody gets this message, stay away from them until the cycle is over. If, as you can see on screen right now, our team basically was all together, somebody got it, and it spread to everyone. So if this happens and you're doing the melee phase, just have the people burning on one side and the people not burning on the other. So the final notable attack that Olm has is probably the most difficult one. This will be, I'll basically pause on screen so you guys can see. You'll notice your prayer will randomly turn off. Now, obviously this will happen if you get hit by lightning, so make sure it's not from the lightning. But once you see your prayer turn off, you'll see orbs flying towards you and other players affected by this attack. As paused on the screen right now, you'll see a red orb and a purple orb very, very close to the Olm in the top right of the screen. So with these colors, red means you want to pray melee, purple means you want to pray magic, and green means you want to pray ranged. These attacks can be very annoying if you're very close to other players, as you won't be able to tell which orb is yours. But once you see which one is yours, you're going to want to have to turn the prayer on corresponding to the orb color. This does a lot of damage, up to like 60, I believe, if it hits you and you don't do the right prayer. So make sure if your prayer drops, you look for the orbs and you use the protection prayers against them. So now the final thing I want to talk about before I go into the strategy behind this, I mentioned this at the start of the video, having to switch your protection prayer between ranged and mage throughout the fight. Now I know there's a way to predict which one of these it's going to be before the Olm attacks. I don't know what it is, so if you guys can leave a comment, I'll put it as the top comment. I'll basically pin it so you guys can go down there and look if somebody does comment it. The way I do it is once I get hit a pretty high number, maybe like 16 or 17, I'll switch between the prayers. That's basically a good way to know. Make sure you guys pay attention to that. If you're getting hit 3s and 4s from, because it does hit through your protection prayer, you're using the right protection prayer. If you get hit like I believe it's over 16, because they did just change it to make it hit higher through prayers in the last update. So now with all of the attacks out of the way, you guys are probably already super confused. Like I said, you're going to want to practice this before you get used to it. Right now I'm going to tell you guys a simple strategy. You can obviously do it any way you want. This is how my team does it. This is how I've been doing it. I've done it for about 80 raids, and I've only died, I think, once, and that was on the release day. So like I said, once you go in, you're going to protect from magic and start attacking the left claw with magic. You're going to want to kill this all the way down, dodging the attacks and everything until it's dead. Once it's dead, you're going to move over to the melee hand. Now on this hand, you will notice that the lightning does go past you and it can hit you pretty high, so I'd recommend standing towards the middle so you don't get hit by the one spawning on the right side. Also, you'll notice the crystals will pop up under you, so make sure you're paying attention to that. When they do, take one step back, and once you step back, you can go right back to hitting it, so step back and then hit the hand again instantly. Once the hand is dead, you'll notice that the Olm does go away. Now, it will appear on the other side after this next attack is over. You'll see crystals start falling from the ceiling. These hit very, very high, so do your best to dodge them. It's kind of annoying with the mechanics of RS because it's a delayed click. Once you click, it takes a while to get away from it. I just stand in this corner and move back and forth towards the west and east. Also, make sure you remember to turn your prayers off. This is also another good time to overload and use another prayer enhance if you guys do have it. Once the phase change is over, you will see Olm spawn on the opposite side, and you will see that message in the chat with the phase I was telling you about earlier, but being acid, crystal, or flame. If you remember all the attacks it does, you'll probably be able to dodge them pretty easily. Except for the flame one, that one's kind of annoying. The other two are pretty easy. But you're going to do basically the same thing on this one as the first one. You're just going to kill the mage hand first, and then kill the melee hand. After you kill the melee hand, it's going to be the same thing. The Olm's going to go under. You're going to have to go to that same corner I just showed you, turn your praise off, dodge the falling stuff, and then the Olm will come up for a third and final time. I believe it has 4 phases if you're doing it with 8 or more people, and it has 3 if you're doing it with 7 or less. So I recommend you guys stay with 7 or less, because 4 phases on this boss can get very annoying very quickly. So this phase is going to be different from all of the rest. What you're going to want to do is have probably half the team on the mage hand and half the team on the melee hand. However, with this time, the melee hand can actually heal. So the people that are on the melee hand, what they're going to want to do when they see it healing, you'll see an insignia pop up. It's like an infinity symbol over the melee hand, and it means that it's healing. So do not hit it when it's healing. When it's healing, the people on the melee hand are going to attack the mage hand and help out the magers. Another thing very notable with this phase is you have to kill both the hands at the same time, which I'll show you in a second. Once you kill off the melee hand, which you're going to want to do first, basically you get the mage hand down to maybe 5%, and then the rest of your team goes and kills the melee hand. The reason you want to do this is because the melee hand, like I said, can heal, and if you kill the mage hand first and the melee hand starts healing, you're going to be screwed. It's going to regenerate and you have to start all over. So once you get the mage hand to 5%, everybody gets on the melee hand and you're going to want to kill that off. Once it's killed, you'll see a bar that starts going up, a yellow bar that's basically it regenerating. Once that hits full, if you have not killed the other hand, both of the hands will regenerate. So once you guys kill that hand, get on the mage hand as fast as possible. So finally, once both the hands are gone on the third phase, you will have to switch to your ranged equipment and start ranging the head. As mentioned at the very start of this video, I recommend you guys use crossbows with ruby bolts up until it's at 30% and then switch to a blowpipe to finish it off. This is pretty annoying as stuff is falling from the ceiling. One thing I did forget to mention earlier is you will also get fire that shows up on the third phase. You might have seen it throughout the video at some point. I'll actually show that on the screen right now. This fire, basically what you want to do is have someone in your team with water spells, and they click on the fire, and the person can run out. If they don't run out, they're going to take a lot of damage, so make sure you have somebody in your team with water spells that can take out the fire. And finally, at the very end, when you're killing the range head, you'll see portals appear on the ground, white portals. You want to stand on those when these pop up, because if you don't, it will heal the boss, especially since the last update, it will heal the boss a lot. So even if you're going to take damage standing on it, make sure you have your team stand on it or you're going to have a bad time on the final boss. But that's basically it, guys. You should be able to kill the boss after that. If there's anything I missed, and actually you guys will see me get the red thing right now, it's kind of glitched out. The boss is dead and I still have the attack, but this is what I talked about earlier, getting the attack and walking around to get rid of it. That's it for the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. I tried my best to explain it. There's so much stuff to this boss, and it's so confusing to try to explain. If you guys have anything to add, please let me know in the comments, and I will add annotations on the video. I hope this is helpful to some of you guys. I might not have explained it the best way. There might be some other method to this, but I wanted to show you guys all the attacks and a basic strategy to do this, especially since the last update, since I changed a pretty decent amount of stuff. So I'll see you guys in the next hardcore video pretty soon. I'm getting pretty close to Bear's Gloves, which would be a really awesome accomplishment. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video and found it helpful, a like would mean a lot to me. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.